Welcome to NFL Week 18 of the Sports Phenom Show, the best damn sports betting show on the planet, where you get all of my capping insight and picks on every game in under 30 minutes. No boring gibberish, only the main points that need to be said, and no commercials, just the way we like it. I am the owner of sportsbettingphenoms.com, better known as the Phenom, World Series of Handicapping Champion. I run the only site on the planet where all of our cappers had to go through a rigorous qualifying process, all of which did so with at least a 60% record and unprecedented units of profits, max lines of minus 150, different tier levels based on each capper's performance, where all results are fully documented from day one, and all of our packages are 100% guaranteed to profit. No one else offers what we do at more than fair pricing and unprecedented results you simply can't find anywhere else. Well, folks, want to congratulate you on Week 17's performance. I did it again, just like I've been doing all season long for you, providing you with unprecedented results unlike anywhere else in the industry. Results so good, people say it's impossible to do what I did and to do what I've been doing season after season after season. So that's why I decided to come out here and prove it once and for all. Last week, we topped it all off with our Money 5 selection, going 4-1. I continue to get the job done, unlike anybody else in the industry. My record's so good. Again, I'm doing things that people say are impossible. Hundreds of selections, hitting 65% on every play. That is the upper echelon 1% of the industry. I'm on a tear of a run right now. I'm absolutely on fire, and I've been doing it all season long. For those of you loyal clients of mine following along, hey, you know what I'm all about. You're reaping and laughing all the way to the bank every single week, every single year. Reaping the benefits of being a client of mine, laughing all the way to the bank with so much money you never thought was even possible. And now I've made it a reality. And to the rest of you who are new, that found me here on YouTube this season, congrats to you. An extra congrats to you. You are absolutely loving and took advantage of it absolutely free. So now's the time, as we finish up the season, to think about becoming a regular client of mine where you get all sports. I'm on absolutely fire and everything. Absolutely fire and everything. There's no reason for you not to believe me. Join and find out for yourself. I proved it to you here on YouTube all season long, and I'm going to continue to prove it in all 2025. 300 to 500 units of profit every single year. Who else can do that? Nobody can even come close. Other services barely. The best can come close to 50% and are always chasing your losses. Not me. Not me. Plain and simple. I proved it to you here this season. Yeah, a lot of gloating, a lot of ego. Call it what you will, but don't you think it's deserved after what I've done for you here on this recording? So congratulations to you all last week. Congratulations to you all last season. It's now week 18, and we finish off this incredible year with my last Money 5 segment in the playoffs. We're going to have to cut things down to probably a Money 3. Well, you're going to have another Money 5 selection list here today. We're going to get things off and rolling with a Saturday card. No Thursday game here this week. There's also no Monday game, so we just have Saturday and Sunday action. Let's get right to it. First game we start things off here this week is Cleveland and Baltimore. Well, this week, admittedly, I will be taking some double-digit bigger spread favorites. That's not something I traditionally do. Following along all season here, you know that's not something I like to even get anywhere near in touch. But it is week 18. It is the end of the season now. A lot of teams have nothing to play for, while a handful, have seeding to play for, division titles to go for, things like that. So that is the reason why I will have a few more of those types of selections on this particular week. And I'm going to start it off with one of those big spreads here for my first pick, my first lean of week 18. This is a classic situation where this is a good spot to take one of those double-digit favorites. You've got the Cleveland Browns, who have pretty much thrown it in for the season. They have now for a few weeks. It's been an absolute dismal train wreck of a season. Quarterback problems all season long, changing of quarterbacks every 2-3 weeks. They mustered up only 3 wins. They could have lost pretty much every game on the season. While you have Baltimore actually has something to play for here in this week. Better seeding. No reason why they're not going to go for that better seeding. You can get them an extra playoff game or two in the playoffs. So I like Baltimore here to crush Cleveland. Cleveland has absolutely nothing to play for, as mentioned. They will simply want to get out of this game injury-free, head home to their families, and think about another dismal Cleveland Brown season. But most importantly, they want to remain healthy. They want to get out of this injury-free. Baltimore should crush them. I see them getting it done by 3 touchdowns. But again, it's a very high spread, the highest of the week, one of the highest of the season. So let's just simply lean on Baltimore here in this one. Next game, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. And this is my first of 5 Money 5 selections. Okay, as I mentioned probably about a handful of weeks back now when we were talking about Cincinnati and what a season it's been for them, up and down. They just couldn't seem to turn it around after a slow start like they traditionally do around week 5 or 6 every single year. This year, it's taken them right down to the end of the season. But as luck would have it, the schedule makers gave them a favorable schedule in the last handful of weeks. They have definitely taken advantage, as I said they would, and have now entered the last week with a 4-game winning streak. The big one came last week of the 4, beating the Broncos, and they've now put themselves in a position here where a win could possibly get them in. The other thing I like about this game with Cincinnati is that this game is being played on Saturday, so we won't even have to worry about what's going on in the Denver game or that outcome until Sunday, which makes it that much even more of a stronger selection on Cincinnati to get their job done, get their part of the job done, and then await and see what happens in the Bronco game. I do get a little bit of the argument that there might be something still here left to play for Pittsburgh. They want to end the season strong. You know, Tomlin's that way, wants to head into the playoffs with a win. But this is simply too big of a game for Cincinnati. It's too big of a game for them to blow after coming this far and getting those last 4 wins. They surely don't want it to come down to losing this game. They'd rather win it and then see what happens. And then if they still don't make it, well, hey, they did all they could at the end, and they can talk about all the other stuff that happened midway through the season and why things weren't where they needed to be in the offseason. But for now, let's take Cincinnati. I love them in this game to have one more big showing, end off the season, if that's the case, strong, or head into the playoffs, the team that nobody wants to face. Take the Cincinnati Bengals. Next game, Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Well, we've reached our first vomit game of the week. Indy blew their season and any playoff hopes last week, losing embarrassingly to the shit Giants. Who would have thunk that? So they won't pretty much give too much of a shit here in this one, I don't suppose. Why would you? So I'm going to lean here with the Jags and their backup quarterback, who's been a little bit of a surprise to say the least. I think they have a little bit more incentive and a little bit more to play for here in this one, and we're getting enough points where it's worth leaning here on the Jags. Next game, Buffalo and New England. Well, New England has the number 1 seed for the offseason draft pick here heading into week 18, so I cannot see them putting in any effort towards winning this game. And yes, I know. I mean, Buffalo will probably be resting their starters, but Does it really matter who Buffalo puts on the field? They still should be able to beat a New England team here who's really done nothing all season. And again, if it isn't the highest of management from Kraft or whoever else, maybe the coach, saying, hey, let's make sure we don't win this game, that's really got to be the main point to this game. You don't want to lose that number one draft pick. Are you kidding me? It could change a franchise for decades with the right pick. So you want that pick. Don't blow it for one last win. Who cares? I assume that's going to be the case. And Buffalo, whoever they put on the field, should be good enough to beat a team who knows that's the case, doesn't care, shouldn't want to win. So let's take Buffalo and let New England guarantee themselves the first seed in the draft. Next game, Washington and Dallas. Well, this game doesn't mean anything to the Cowboys, and I think it has a little bit of meaning to Washington, who can, if I'm correct, move up maybe from the 7th to the 6th seed. Not that I think it's really going to matter on who they end up playing. So I really don't think it's that big of a deal. They're more than likely going to be resting players. That's more important so that you're healthy into the playoffs. So because of that, I'm just going to have a slight opinion lean here on the Cowboys. They might have a little bit more incentive, I guess, or call it whatever you will, for the coach, McCarthy, who's in his last game, possibly as a Cowboy. They have pride. It is America's team, Jerry Jones and all that kind of thing. So just a very slight opinion lean here to the boys while Washington looks to remain healthy heading into the playoffs. Next game, New York Giants and Philadelphia. Well, I don't know who Philly is going to start in this one, and that's one thing that's really bothering me about trying to cap this game. The line has also now gone under 3, which is telling me that a lot of these starters for Philly probably aren't going to be in the lineup. There is the argument that Barkley is going to be trying to break the season rushing yard record. I don't know if that's the case. There's just too many unknowns. And because I don't know those things, and then the line doesn't smell right, it's just screaming pass. We never force things, folks, so let's just do the smart thing here and concentrate on other games and just simply pass on this one. Next game, Chicago and Green Bay. Well, here's a game, again, as I mentioned, a handful of games that have some meaning. In this case, meaning for Green Bay, who still has something to play for. In this one, I believe they can move up a seed or two. And in this case, unlike Washington, where the seeding might not mean as much, it definitely means something here for Green Bay, where a win can get them a much easier opponent in the first round. So with that in mind, I do like Green Bay. I think they should also take the rival Bears a bit more seriously in this one after only beating them by 1 point in the last game around. So they probably learned a lot from that game. What really does Chicago care in this game other than it is a rivalry? But with Green Bay having more to play for and the game being close in the first time they met, this has got Green Bay written all over it. Take the back. Next game, Carolina and Atlanta. Well, we all know Atlanta still has a shot, if you can believe it. That shot, a very small percentage one, though, at that, as Tampa Bay would have to lose to New Orleans. I don't think that's the case. I even have a money 5 upcoming on Tampa Bay, which I'll get to. So I don't necessarily see a lot of motivation here for Atlanta with them knowing the case, but there is technically a mathematical shot, and with that still a possibility, you have to ever so slightly maybe lean then here to the Falcons. Now, there might be an argument that Carolina has a little bit more incentive here in this one to want to finish off the season strong. They've had a really nice latter half of the season, but is that motivation and incentive going to be more so than Atlanta knowing they have to win this game to have any shot? So, again, Very slight lean. I don't like Atlanta. Carolina's just been a train wreck, even though they are having a better latter half of the season. So in the end, it's a close one here. But again, if you're looking for a play, it's an ever so slight lean to the Falcons. Next game, Houston and Tennessee. Well, this is one of the first games that I really don't like. As most of you know, I refuse to bet on Tennessee games. I especially refuse to bet on Tennessee, period. But in this one, I will slightly lean towards Houston. I believe they find a way to win no matter who's playing. And just because Tennessee sucks that bad, maybe call it spite, but I love Tennessee getting crushed. They've been crushed all season long. Why wouldn't they get crushed in this one? Do they really honestly care? I mean, Houston might have a slight bit more incentive here also. They haven't had the best end of their season. You don't want to know that they're all thinking about heading into the playoffs strong. So that's what a win can do for you to end this season. Have your head up high. Have you feeling a little bit better as you head into the playoffs. So that's my lean here on this one. Houston with a little bit more incentive no matter who they play. Tennessee, train wreck of a season. It's embarrassing. They want to hide, hibernate, get out of town, and good luck to that franchise in the future. Next game, New Orleans and Tampa Bay. And as I mentioned to you in one of the previous games, Tampa Bay is going to be a Money 5 selection. This will be my second of 5 Money 5 plays. And let's get right to it. I love this selection on Tampa Bay. This is my blowout special of Week 18. I believe, and I see already in my brain right now, how Tampa Bay is absolutely going to crush New Orleans. How can they not in this spot? They have to win. And we saw how New Orleans is looking at this end of season where they absolutely don't care. They can barely wait for the season to end. They want to get out of town. They want to head on the plane back to New Orleans and then head home to wherever they all live. And that's all they care about right now. And they want to remain injury-free. They've gotten crushed to end the season. They should get crushed in this one. Tampa Bay, who's looking to get in the playoffs and looking to get in strong, they've been looking strong. They've made a couple bad errors in some games that they could have ended up winning, but there's no way that New Orleans should get in their way in this one. When Tampa Bay is on their game, they have to win, and they're playing up against a team that doesn't care. This one's got blowout written all over it. Next game, San Francisco and Arizona. This is going to be my third of 5 Money 5 selections. Well, both teams' seasons are done. More so a surprise for San Francisco than Arizona, but we all know that San Francisco has been going through a ton of injuries all season long, so shame for them. But I do like Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers here in this one. I love the coach's mentality, even with the way the season has gone. It showed last week when they gave Detroit all they could handle. They had an early lead in that game. They had a great first half. They looked like they might be well on their way to pulling off the upset, but it didn't happen. But in the end, it's still about the mentality here. I believe that Kyle Shanahan will want this dismal injury-plagued season to end with a win here in this game. And he will go all out to try to make that happen. Let's not forget that Purdy is also playing for a contract here in his contract year. So I believe that he will get the start at least for some of this game. So that'll get San Francisco off and rolling here in this one. We don't know who Arizona is going to play, how much they care, and how they're favored in this one is a bit surprising to me. So I just think all in all, we're getting still a bit of a motivated Kyle Shanahan, great coach, San Francisco team that has some pride and wants to end off strong against an Arizona team that we don't know what to expect. We do know their quarterback likes to throw a couple picks a game. So that's good for San Francisco. I just think the fact we're getting points here, who the better team is, and who has the better coach and still might be a little bit more motivated than the other team, Oh, man, give me San Francisco all the way. With the points, that's just a bonus. Maybe even sprinkle a bit on the money line. San Francisco, my third of five money five selections. Next game, Seattle at the LA Rams. And this is going to be my one and only teaser of the week. Nailed all my teasers last week in the Money 5, and I expect that we'll nail this one again here today. Teaser has been very profitable here in the latter part of the season. I told you a few weeks back that teasers can be good, can be the way to go at this time of the year. A lot of things going on with teams needing to win, others that don't need to win. A lot of times these spreads can be really tough because of that. So these teasers can be very favorable to the better, and we are taking advantage. And this is the one I like here this week. This is going to be part one of two teams in a 7.2 team teaser. And we'll start it off with Seattle. I like Seattle to win this one, but I don't necessarily like the spread in this game. So that's why I think they're perfect for the tease. Pull off the win. That's all we need. Again, it's going to be in a two-team 7-point teaser, and I'll have the other team I'm going to match them up with upcoming, so stay tuned for that. Next game, Miami and the New York Jets. Well, not a game I'm really fond of here, to be honest with you. I'm just looking forward to seeing Aaron Rodgers retire and the Jets to think about yet another dismal season and wonder if getting rid of Sam Darnold was the right move and all that kind of thing. But really, what's to look forward to in this game? There is something, however, for Miami to play for. And they also, Miami, showed me and showed a lot of us, I think, that they can actually win in the Northeast in cold weather games, beating Cleveland. Now, mind you, Cleveland does suck, and we went through a little bit about Cleveland's train wreck of a season earlier. But let's not forget, Miami's playing the Jets here in this one. What incentive do the Jets have in this game? What, Aaron Rodgers to win maybe his last game of his career? Really? Is he even going to play? Come on. Look at what the Jets have been all season long. An absolute train wreck. They even got Devontae Adams and did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Pack it in. Get rid of them all. Start over again. I mean, that's where your franchise is. I'm sorry, Jets. I love your slogan. Jets, 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 Jets. I love it. I've been saying it all season, and you have made me money this year in the right spots. But this isn't the one for you. Miami's simply too hungry, has to get this win. And again, I don't know who the Jets are playing. I don't really care. Miami is the play. Next game, LA Chargers and Vegas. Well, the Chargers are still looking to maintain seeding, and a win gets them a better game, in my opinion, where they'll end up probably playing Baltimore versus Buffalo. And let's not forget, I'm pretty sure that the younger Harbaugh brother would more than likely love to be able to play his bigger brother again in a revenge game after losing to him earlier in the season. And I'm sure he's going to probably think he has a better chance there in that game. And if he has to lose, hell, let it be to his older brother, too, to top it off, rather than Buffalo, who's just riding into the playoffs on all cylinders and look like a team to be reckoned with. So you want to avoid them. Baltimore, even though look very strong, can be suspect on defense at times. Offensively, you never know. Either with them, they could have a great game or they could have a suspect game. So it hasn't been the greatest season for Baltimore, and I just think that the Chargers could take advantage, and it is a better seeding for them. Now, Baltimore could crush them once again, like they did in the first game, but in the end, it's about seeding, like I said. So with this game in mind, that makes the Chargers the play here, makes them the team with the added incentive and motivation to win this game, while the Raiders, yet another team that's been an absolute train wreck. What do they care? What incentive do they have? What do they play for their coach? Maybe. They like him. I get it. Maybe he deserves another chance to keep coaching there. They don't have the players. It's not the coach's fault, I don't think. And again, maybe they will want to play and try to win this game at home for their fans and for him. But in the end, it doesn't matter. Chargers are still better. And because the Chargers have something to play for, in my opinion, here in this game, as long as the Chargers come to play, they are the play here in this game. Next game, Kansas City and Denver, and this is going to be part 2 of my second half of that 2-team 7-point teaser that we're going to match up with Seattle that we spoke about a few games ago. So let's get right into this one. Now, right off the bat, I don't care who Kansas City is playing in this game. Right away when I saw the line at 10.5, I could not believe it. Are you kidding me? Let's not forget who the backup quarterback is for Kansas City, who used to be a starter in Philadelphia, Carson Wentz. He is a more than capable backup quarterback. And if I was running a football team, man, hell, I would have absolutely no problem with having him as my backup quarterback compared to some of the other backup quarterbacks in this league. Give me Carson Wentz all day long as a backup. No problem. And I'm sure we have to all agree that he's going to want to come out here and have something to prove. I'm sure he's still thinking he could be a starter somewhere. This is his game. This is his chance. And he's on the Kansas City Chiefs with a hell of a team. I don't care if they're starters or backups. So that is all a good thing for Kansas City. Now, on the other hand, Denver has to win this game. After losing last week to the Cincinnati Bengals, they've now put themselves in a position where they have to win to get in. So obviously this is a big game for them. But the spread is simply way too high. Let's not forget these are rivals still too. No one's just going to lay back and get pummeled here. So this should be a close game. Just in case, however, if Carson Wentz doesn't have a good game for whatever reason, and Kansas City's backups aren't out there trying to lock a job up and playing as good as I expect them to play, we'll just make this line even a little bit more sweeter by matching them up with Seattle and taking them all the way up to plus 17.5. How often are you going to take Kansas City plus 17.5? I don't care who's playing. That is a solid teaser. So officially, my 4th of 5 Money 5 selections, a 2-team 7-point teaser of the week on Seattle plus a half and Kansas City plus 17.5. Okay, let's get to the next game, our last selection of Week 18. This is your Sunday nighter. Remember, no Monday night game here this week, and what a game it is. Flexed properly in this spot between Minnesota and Detroit. And this is also my 5th of 5 Money 5 selections. I am absolutely all over the Minnesota Vikings in this game. Not only it is a revenge spot for an earlier season loss, keep in mind only 1 of 2 losses for the Vikings here this season, with Detroit's continued defensive injuries in play. That is huge in my mind. Yes, Detroit can get by teams like San Francisco last week who don't have a full squad. They could get by teams like the Bears the previous week that didn't have much on offense to really give them a challenge. But can you really do that against the powerhouse that is the Minnesota Vikings this year? A rejuvenated Sam Darnold that's finally found a home that suits his quarterback talents. And this is a revenge spot to top it all off. Plus, we're looking at the division title. Plus, we're looking for seeding. And plus, we're looking for home field advantage games. This is huge. And I truly believe the difference will be the Detroit injuries against this potent Minnesota offense. Look for a high-scoring affair where Minnesota should get the job done. If Detroit does it, hey, hands out to them. It's just an incredible season, and the way they've been able to accomplish it with those defensive injuries, then they absolutely deserve it. But on paper, this is the play to take Minnesota to get the revenge and get it done in style. Take the Minnesota Vikings, my 5th of 5 Money 5 selection. Okay, it's time now to recap my Money 5 for the last regular season week of the season, Week 18. And we started it all off with the Cincinnati Bengals on the Saturday night affair against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Take Cincinnati on the money line. My second selection will be on Tampa Bay Now, this line's all over the place at a lot of different books, so this is what I want you to do. Make sure you take it at 13.5. Buy down to 13.5. The only thing I think that could come into play here, and we want to be protective of, is that backdoor touchdown. Let's say Tampa Bay is up around 21, which I believe they will be near the end of the game, 21 to 24, somewhere around there. Let's say it's 21, and New Orleans somehow finds a way to get a last-minute touchdown or something like that to bring it to 14. We want to make sure that we have that 13.5 line. So the second Money 5 selection on Tampa Bay, make sure to take it at 13.5. Third selection on San Francisco. Even though this is a meaningless game, I believe San Francisco has more motivation and incentive to end off the season strong here with the win in this one. They're the better team, better coach, better players, pretty on a contract year. Last game, take San Francisco, and we're going to take them plus the big 4.5. The fourth of 5 Money 5 selections will be on Seattle and Kansas City in a 2-team 7-point teaser. We have Seattle first. We're taking plus a half. And then we're taking that whopping 17.5 plus points on Kansas City. Finally, the last selection of the weekend might be the shocker of the weekend. The big play on the Minnesota Vikings over Detroit. We're going to also bump that up to plus 4.5, where we're getting an extra added incentive line here in that one. Take it to the bank. It's one of my favorite plays of the week. And you've got yourself another hell of a Money 5 card for Week 18. Okay, folks, well, that'll do it for another week of action here. Week 18 to end the regular season. And I am absolutely pumped for playoff action. You know this is the place to be. I am your go-to number one source that you need to take advantage of for all the playoff action. I am going to destroy the playoffs, folks, and I'm going to give you the big Super Bowl winner on February 9th. Stay tuned for that. Mark my words, folks. There is no better place to be. I am the Phenom, wishing you all an amazing Week 18. Let's get this money. See ya.